what's good with y'all, man? It's your boy Phanto. I'm back with another video, man. I got hella videos for y'all planned, bro. This video comes from Macquarie Turner. I put on my Instagram. I got like a couple hundred responses, bro. I'm gonna do a podcast. I'm gonna try. I just need to find. I don't know how to do it. I need to figure out how to do that. But I'm back. If y'all read the title, "How to Transcend Your Lower Self," like honestly, when I first read this. First of all, you got to determine what is your lower self. Like my lower self, bro, what I imagine my lower self to be is like I have no control. Like, and not even in a good way. It's like I have no control. I'm just acting on what my body's in control. Myself, my real self has no control. When I think of my higher self, I think that I'm independent, I'm free. It's not even that I have control over everything, but I have control over at least my body. And I'm accepting what happens in life or something of that nature, right? I'm connected to a higher power. I surrender myself to a higher power, right? I'm chilling. I'm cool. I'm not anxious about things I can't control. My lower self, I feel like, is super like animalistic, right? Like it's like me. It's like if I were an animal and I had no real self-awareness or no self-consciousness. Because as humans, bro, we have the ability, bro. We're not animals. We can think past our instinct, and we can do opposite of what our instinct tells us to do. And that's what I guess, you know, semen retention, no fap, being sober, all these different things. Because one thing that kind of occurred to me, bro, and it's kind of crazy, right? Like, I feel like as humans, right, we have the ability to choose. You can choose right and you can choose wrong. You have the ability to choose. God gave you that. He gave you that ability, that self-conscious, that awareness to be able to choose what to do. Right? You can choose to jack off. You can choose to have sex, or you can choose to go against that. You have that ability. You have that power inside of you. Right? We've all been given that. But what happens whenever you mess around with drugs, sex, alcohol, any of these external vices, right? You're messing with these external vices. And the thing I was doing, bro, I was messing with these external vices to cope with an internal problem, right? It's pretty contradictory, but that's exactly what I was doing. And what happens, bro, and this is crazy, right? You lose your agency, bro. You lose your ability to choose because now you're a slave to that. You have no ability to choose. How many of y'all want to stop jacking off, want to stop masturbating, want to stop doing drugs, but you can't because it has a power over you? It's calling the shots. It's not even you anymore, right? And that's something I was thinking about, bro. I was like, I had an ability to choose in life. This was my freedom, bro. This was me being independent. There's a quote, a saying, independence is reached when dependency is broken, right? Which makes sense, right? You can't be independent and dependent at the same time. They're the inverse of each other. It's contradictory. You can't. To be independent, you have to get rid of all your dependencies, right? And I was realizing, okay, I was free. I was independent. I was free to choose whatever I wanted. And then by choosing to do these things and indulge in these vices to cope with whatever I was going through, I lost my ability to choose, bro. And you know what's so crazy is I was thinking about in my past how I used to rely on like drugs and alcohol, and I know a lot of y'all can relate. And maybe it's not even drugs and alcohol for y'all. Maybe it's social media. Maybe it's something else in life, bro. Maybe you were seeking validation in other sources, right? This was me. I was seeking validation in these things in my life, in these external vices, and I was using it as like not even like a crutch, bro. I was using it as like a cane. You know how with a cane, you use a cane because you can't walk. I would wake up in the morning and I would use a cane. And what started to happen, bro, is that I was so reliant on this thing that once the cane disappeared, bro, my legs were weak. My legs were weak. I was trying to find a cane that wouldn't always be there, right? And I was weak as a result. The cane disappeared and I was weak, and then I had to be able to, you know, strengthen up my legs and strengthen up myself on my own. And I'm saying this because you're talking about transcending your lower self, bro. Your lower self, I guarantee, is dependent on a lot of things, right? You can't function without a piece of, it's like you're attaching a piece to yourself. It's like this cane was like my third leg, bro. Drugs, alcohol, pornography, all this stuff. I was so reliant on it. It was like a third leg to me, right? Until it disappeared. It wasn't a real part of me. But once it disappeared, bro, I had no real strength. I was so reliant on that. I was using it to take real weight off of me rather than coping with it by myself. And what's so crazy about this is I used to think, okay, I'm going to get through it by myself by using drugs and alcohol. These were my coping mechanisms. That's what they call them, coping mechanisms. This is what I'm going to use so I can solve it by myself. But the paradox was, at the end of the day, I was hurting myself because I was getting weaker, right? But I'm trying to think about what you're saying, bro. Transcend your lower self. Your lower self is indulging in so many different things, bro. They say indulgence brings fog. I think that's especially true, bro. You're indulging in all these things, and it's like, when I think, and I just thought about this, whenever I used to be horny and I would jack off, I would feel like when I'm horny or need to smoke or need to do drugs, bro, I feel like I just had fog all over me. And I just needed to clear it somehow, and I used an external vice, and I didn't know how to clear the fog without indulging in some sort of external vice, bro. Some sort of drug, something else that could get rid of it, bro. I didn't know what else to rely on. I didn't know how else to cope with it. And so naturally, that's all that happened. It was like it was built up, and then I would just release it. And this was my coping mechanism, bro. Your higher self is independent, bro. It has no dependencies. It's free. It's surrendered to a higher power, bro, to God. And he'll take on that burden, bro. It's not you. It's not an external vice. You're not going through it alone anymore. It's hard to go through life alone. Y'all know that? Nobody can really go through life alone. And that's one thing that I've always struggled with. I used to always think I can get through it alone. I can get through it alone. But at the end of the day, it always came back to hurt me. And it hurt the one person I was always with, which was me, which was who I was relying on. And the person I was relying on was being weakened by me. But you're talking about how to transcend, bro. I would literally say that you kind of have to starve the flesh. There's a quote like, you are what we continually do. They say like, you are what you continually do. Or, let me see what the quote is, bro. What we are comes out in what we do. That's the real version of you. You can have a mentality, and then you can have what you actually do in life. And if you stop jacking off, you stop masturbating, naturally your mentality will follow. And people talk about the law of attraction, bro. Oh, it's fake, it's BS. I'll tell you what the real law of attraction is, bro. You either one thing will change, your mentality or your action. And if your mentality is always straight, eventually your actions will follow. Right? And so if you're this person, bro, and I get all these messages, trust me. People are like, man, I suck. They're beating themselves up because they can't stop jacking off. Bro, you have to understand, it's not you making the decision. You gave up your choice. You gave up your free will to this demon, bro. You gave it up a long time ago without knowing it. It's like you signed away a contract and you didn't even know what you were signing. And that's what happens with a lot of kids, bro. But at the end of the day, that is kind of the purpose of Earth. You make a mistake so that you won't make it in the future, right? And I guarantee after you go through this whole process of trying to quit this addiction, you won't want to mess with it again. And that's kind of how I've been. I'm like, yeah, I could jack off, I could have sex, but I don't want to go through this process again of regret, of, you know what I mean? It was a pain, it was a burden. If it was easy, I'm thinking about it now. If it was easy, if I could just quit masturbation and, oh, I don't even need it, I would go back to it continually, because I'd be like, oh, I can just dip my foot in the water. I can touch the fire, but I won't get burned. You kind of have to get burned. You kind of have to teach a kid, hey, you touch the stove, it's hot. You tell them 1,000,000 times until they touch it and they burn their hand. Now they really know, okay, I'm not touching the stove. And that's how I feel. I saw the real consequences, bro, from drugs, from all these things in my life. And I guess to answer your question, transcend your lower self. I haven't even been answering the question, bro. Your lower self is dependent. And that's just the flat out truth. Your lower self is literally lower, bro, on the spectrum. Like, you can think of the third dimension as Earth. Your lower self is bound on this dimension. You can think of it almost like the ego, bro. The ego. I say people lives are centered around a lie. It's centered around the ego. Think about social media, bro. It's a lie. It's a facade. It's fake, bro. None of it is real. Social media, people are living up to, here's what's so crazy about social media, bro. People are living up to a version of them that is fake, right? It's fake. It's all pretty. The ugly in social media disappears, right? Because you are your own PR agent, bro. You get to whatever, edit the picture, delete the comments. You can edit the caption. You can choose the angle, choose from 1,000,000 different pictures. The picture you want the world to see. You get to choose how the world views you, right? The ugly disappears. That's the ego, bro. The ego is all good. The ego, that literally social media is the ego, bro. You can view social media as the ego, right? The thing with the ego is that it's centered around a lie, and people are living up to a lie. That's their goal, is to achieve this version that is impossible, and it will never be possible, right? It's fake. So what makes you think in real life they're trying to actively live up to this version of themselves, right? I said that before. People are on social media, bro. There's this version of them that's fake, And they want to become that version so badly, so they're going to be fake to follow in that footstep, bro. They're cut from the same cloth at the end of the day, right? And that's why I think social media has helped me a lot, getting rid of social media. Mainly because, bro, I just feel like when I'm in public, a lot of times I just don't know what to do with myself. But I feel like it's because I'm trying to figure myself out now. I'm like with myself now. I'm not living up to something. I'm not just doing a set of procedures that follow, oh, if I want to become this version of me that I've set forth and that people are viewing me as, I have to do this and this and this. And now it's not really I'm anxious because I'm thinking, what do people think? I'm anxious because I'm like, who am I? What am I doing? I'm trying to like learn how to be human, bruh. I'm trying to like learn who I am as a person. But social media, the ego, you kind of have to let it go, bro. That's the whole idea. I say people's lives are centered around a lie. It's centered around a lie, so they'll fight to the death. And you gotta understand, people, bro, whenever you tell them the truth, like I could tell somebody, my friends, right, I used to say, oh, I'm on NoFap, I'm not having sex. Or like when I used to drink, bro, someone would tell me like, oh no, I don't drink. Or I don't smoke. And I'd be like drunk and I'd be like, what? And they would like hurt me, bro, it would pierce me. They say like in the Bible, bro, the truth will pierce the soul of a sinner, bro, because it's almost like they're calling you out and you know like it's wrong what you're doing. You know it is, and someone would tell me, I don't drink, bro, I just don't believe in that. And I'll be like, wow, because I would think, wow, that's courageous of them. But then at the same time, I feel like it's an attack on me. Because I'm like, I'm not able to be that. I'm not courageous. This person just straight up stood in my face, told me no, which is the same thing I'm scared to do to other people. You know what I mean? It's like these people's lives, bro, my life was centered around like a lie, bro. It wasn't real. It was so grounded in this third dimension around pleasure, around like short-lived happiness. None of it was eternal, bro. It was all buried in earth. I was burying my treasures in earth and not in heaven, bro. That was the difference, right? And so I was anxious about things on this earth. That's where my ego is. Your ego is earthly dimension, bro. They call the devil the prince of the earth. And you think to yourself, how is the ego? The ego is the devil in all of us. The ego is so grounded on this earthly dimension, bro. It wants you to think that that's the only version of you. It wants you to think there is no soul. It's just you. You're a human. You're an animal. Act on these impulses, on these urges, bro. You're giving the ego full control. And at the end of the day, bro, at least for me, one of the ways that I tried to cut off my ego, at least some part of it, was that I literally had to throw away that part of my life. And I say before, bro, I say like, I was 19 years old, 18, 19 years old, and I realized, okay, everything I've been doing was kind of a waste of time. It had to happen. Yes, it had to happen, but it was a waste of time. I wasn't working towards anything. I was just acting on impulses, on urges, and I was fulfilling myself in the moment, right? Like I said, there's a difference between what you want in the moment and what you truly want, what your soul desires. I was just doing what I wanted in the moment, and I wasn't progressing. Anywhere in my life, I wasn't progressing. I might have been progressing on earth. People might like me more, right? I might have been a more cool guy, a more popular guy. But outside of that, bro, I was stagnant. I was staying the same, right? And that was my ego. I had to literally let it go. You kind of have to take a leap of faith. And what I did, bro, is I had to move. Literally, I had to move states. I had to stop hanging around certain people. I had to cut a lot of things off. I had to leave everything that I had been working toward that I knew was fake, and I kind of had to just let it dissolve and throw it in the past and then start to build anew. Because at the end of the day, the only way you'll build anew, you kind of have to forget the old. You can't keep the same rocky foundation, bro. You can't. You kind of have to wipe it all away and rebuild from the start. My foundation was weak. It was stupid weak, bro. So I had to get rid of it all, and now I feel like my foundation is stronger. And that's how I was able to, like, I went back home. I went back to Texas, where I'm from, and, like, yeah, there were people around me who, like, they wanted to do things that I don't personally do anymore, and I was able to stand up for myself. It was a lot easier. It was so much easier, bro. Which is just so crazy to me. It's like, it's a truth, and it's a testament to, like, bro, as humans, you can evolve. You can, just your actions being in line. Like, maybe mentally I had my doubts sometimes and whatever, but my actions were in line, bro. I wasn't doing these things, and what followed was that, bro, I had a foundation. I had a voice inside of me that was stronger than what it used to be. It wasn't suppressed anymore. I was letting it out, right? And I don't know who I told who would feel like I was saying. Somebody told me that, and it pierced me. And I still remember to the day certain people who told me that, and it pierced me. And that was the ego getting like hurt, right? Because it felt like it was in the wrong. It felt like it was getting attacked. And the ego will always try to play defense, bro. The ego will always try to defend itself. You know what I mean? And that's part of the lower self. The lower self has an ego and it's acting so much on this earthly dimension, bro. It thinks this is its only version of itself, bro. It's so grounded here. And so what happens when you're so grounded, you know what I'm saying? You're so low, there's no way you can get high. You're so grounded, right? You're so tied down. It's like a rope on your soul on this earthly dimension. There's no way you can experience anything higher, bro. Right? You think God's going to come down and give you inspiration? He's going to tell you things whenever you're so caught up in your own. You think you're God? You think you're God, bro. God will let you keep that belief until you are faced with the reality that you aren't. And it might be some fiery death. It might be something crazy. It might be something to really slap you in the face. It's like that child with the stove, bro. With the fire. Sometimes you got to touch the flame to know it's hot. And then you get the burn scars to prove it, bro. That's how any good parent, I guess, would teach its kids. You don't just tell them, oh yeah, just believe me, just believe me. At the end of the day, you kind of have to know some things for yourself. And so that's what I've been working on, bro. I don't even know if I answer your question. Lower self, bro. You kind of have to starve the flesh. That's what I did. I took a risk. And so far, it paid off, bro. And since then, I think I'm more inclined to take risks because I see, like, this one risk opened up a lot of different doors. You know? It opened up a lot of different doors, and I had to cut a couple people off. I had to cast my life differently. I had to start hanging around certain people less and certain people more. What I do notice is that I feel like I got closer with my family. I do realize I'm seeing things more clearly. There's no fog. I'm learning to cope with the fog without using a release mechanism, bro. I'm learning who I really am. And I would always find out who I am once it was beneath the fog. I would come, I would smoke, I would do whatever, and I would feel regret because it's me now. There's no fog, it's me. You know what I mean? And me, I was always just trying to feel like me, bro. And there was always this fog, and I was using whatever coping mechanism. That's what my soul desired. And any good lie is based on a truth, bro. And I feel like the devil just misconstrued that too. You want to feel yourself, you got to jack off. You got to have sex. You got to fulfill these earthly desires to feel this soul pleasure or whatever it was. I don't even know, bro. But I appreciate y'all, man. I just come on here and I vent. I'll catch y'all on the flippity flip side, bro. To transcend your lower self, man. At the end of the day, you got to cut the rope that's keeping you low, bro. A lot of times that is what you're dependent on. And it's not even just external vices, bro. It could be the approval of other people. It could be social media. It could be these boundaries set in your own mind. It could be your own expectations. It could be what you expect God to expect of you. It could be anything, bro, but that's up to y'all. I don't know y'all as well as you know yourself. So I'll catch y'all, man. It's Phanto. I'm sorry for the delay. I'll catch you.